Welcome to my review for Annabelle Creation, a prequel to the original Annabelle. So we get to find out the origins of the doll in this one. It's nothing spectacular. It's not Sauron in Mordor crafting it and then sending it through the cosmos 2,000 years. It's just a normal doll maker in this Californian homestead where he lives with his wife, just making dolls, and one day comes up with the idea for Annabelle and goes for it. Unfortunately, this couple suffer a tragedy very soon after that. Their only daughter is killed in a roadside accident. So all the doll making stops, they become recluses, they lock all the child toys away, and that's that for like 10 years. After which, they randomly invite this group of 5 orphaned girls and their ward to come and stay with them for as long as they can until they can find a new family, presumably. It's not explicitly said why they do this. I kind of presume that it's because they desperately need some income. I don't think it's because they just want some cheer in the place. You know, the husband doesn't really seem to want anything to do with the girls in terms of playing with them or engaging with them. And the mother is very sick by this point. She's just bedridden in this room and never comes out of it. So the film starts roughly when the girls turn up. Of course, one of the girls accidentally unlocks one of the cupboards which has Annabelle in it. So a demon which was previously trapped manages to get out, and it's not long before this thing, whatever it is trying to possess one of the girls. So it's like a Conjuring movie, really, just set in the 1950s, so it can't have Ed and Lorraine Warren. But let me just say at this point that this film is a massive improvement on the first Annabelle film. I've got so many positives to get through. I'll start with the setting. This place they've managed to scout for this film is just the most tremendous location. I think it's probably more kind of Eastern California, out towards Nevada way, because it feels really sandy and dusty, but I don't know, but the vistas, I mean, whenever there's characters outside in this film, you can see past their heads for like miles. It's really good. The cinematography is just excellent. Inside the house, it's like the perfect haunted house kind of setting. You know, you've got creaky floorboards and doors that just feel like they're going to go when you open them, and cupboards under the stairs and locked off rooms. It's really, really good. In terms of location, this film gets a massive tick for me. I think I've seen all 7 of these movies to date, and I think this film possibly has the best setting out of all of them. Maybe only The Nun can come close with that creepy monastery, but it's a great one, this. In terms of scares, whenever you see a film like this, you immediately say, is it scary? Yes, this one definitely is. It's got so many cool setups that lead to really exhilarating moments, just dotted throughout the movie. There's so many of them. One of my favourites, there's this, it's like a stair lift thing. You know when old people have those stair lifts that are like on a mini monorail type thing that carry them up the stairs if they're getting too old to walk up the stairs? You might remember one from Gremlins that killed this old woman. Well, there's one in this film, and as soon as we see it at the start of the movie, we know it's going to come into play in like one of the action scenes later on. It's probably not the right word. And these stairs are not just one long line either. It's like a U-bend stairs, and once this horror sequence starts later in the film, it makes use of this stair lift. It's just absolutely brilliant. Also, this really scary scene with these two of the older girls. They're sat there with this kind of sheet over their heads, and they're scaring each other by telling each other stories with a torch, and then this apparition walks by past the sheet. You can just about make her out, and she's ringing a bell, and it's really, really scary. I mean, the mileage you get out of this will depend whether this is your kind of stuff to enjoy, whether you like being jolted. I personally do, but I get it's not for everybody. Characterization in the film is so much more stronger than the first Annabelle. I mean, one of my big complaints about that movie was that the main 2 characters just weren't very likable, but that's different here. Not only are the characters good and likable, but there's more of them, so potentially there could be some deaths. You know, I never felt like anybody was going to die in that first movie. But in this one, I mean, the guy who plays the doll maker, you can feel the pain in his performance throughout the film. It's really impressive. And these orphans, an absolute genius move to make them not have any parents or anything like that, because you instantly feel sorry for them the minute they're on the screen. I mean, there's 2 girls who sit there at points and say things to each other like, oh, I'm sure we'll both find a family soon. And it's just, I mean, in a crap film, I think I'd probably think, oh God, get this corny stuff over and done with. But because it's a good movie, I kind of just go along with it, and I feel so sorry for these girls. I mean, I just wanted to foster them myself, you know what I mean? So, you know, really, really good characterization in the film, definitely. Annabelle herself, again, much better in this film. The first one, I barely remember her being in it. I can remember her being on a shelf at some point. I can remember one of the characters throwing her in the bin in Santa Monica. that's it. But in this film, there are several times when Annabelle just pops out of nowhere in the most unlikeliest of places and gives you a real scare. But so it's much better used. This film has really proven to me that there is such a thing that as a good Annabelle film. You know, the ending as well, really, really impressive. It neatly ties into the other movie. I thought these were just going to be two separate movies where, okay, they both just happen to have Annabelle in, but they're decades apart. There's no real connection, but there actually is one. At the end of the movie, we sort of find out a different way that the two films are connected that we didn't expect. So that was really good. There's a couple of new demon characters who sneak in there. And there's this scarecrow who sort of functions as a second Annabelle thing that moves when you're not expecting it to. That was really creepy. That was more in the second half of the film. In fact, when this film came out, I read some reviews that said, oh, there's this scarecrow in there. They're bound to use that for another spin-off. Don't go and see it. They're just tricking you into seeing another spin-off. But no, there's never been a scarecrow film, so you can't criticize it for that. And Valak makes a very, very brief appearance, like 10 seconds. Well, not an actual appearance, but she's sort of in this photo, but it's a creepy little moment. I think the nun was the next one after this, so I guess they're just trying to keep that character in mind a little bit, but it doesn't get in the way of the movie. It's not like Annabelle in the first Conjuring where she was in it way too much. So coming on to the negatives, there's not really any. I mean, if I had to name one, I'd say the main character that we focus on is this girl who, not only is she an orphan, but she's also got this bad leg, and it's implied that this is a permanent thing she's got. I mean, she can only hobble around, so there are scenes where all the other girls are out playing and she just can't go out there because it's just too much effort on her. But this girl, as much as she puts in a great performance, the girl who plays her character journey in the second half of the film maybe wasn't that satisfying. The film likes to jump point of views a few times when we'd just gotten used to staying with one character. That sort of stuff could have been smoother. I'd probably rather have stayed mostly on the point of view of one character, but it's a very minor thing. I mean, look, the story is the story. If that's what they needed to do, then fine. Another thing I thought of is the doll maker at the start of the movie. When he's making the Annabelle, he writes on it 1 out of 100, as if this is going to be one of a limited batch of 100 Annabelles that he's planning to handcraft entirely by himself. And then in the next scene, he's at this church and he tells this guy, oh, the new batch of dolls is ready, but is he talking about the batch of dolls that he's just finished before he moved on to the Annabelles, or is he talking about the fact that he's now finished the 100 Annabelles and we've just moved on a bit in time? Because I thought it would have been an interesting setup if one of the girls had opened a locked room and there'd been 100 Annabelles in storage. That could have been a hell of an image to suddenly be presented with, and you could have had this situation where nobody knows which one is the possessed one. It would be a bit like Will Smith in I, Robot, you know what I mean? So maybe a missed opportunity, but you don't think of it, you don't think of it. And maybe it would have been too much effort to make 100 Annabelle dolls, who knows? So on the whole then, this film is just excellent. I'm very keen to see what we've got in the bag of terror today. I think this could be a good one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bloody axes for Annabelle Creation. That's an excellent score. That is a huge improvement on the 2 bloody axes that the original Annabelle scored. And this puts it level in terms of scoring with the first Conjuring movie. So I think Annabelle Creation is definitely up there with the 2 Conjuring films in terms of quality. And then you've got a massive gap down to Annabelle. We do have a pin for the horror locations map today. I'll be adding another one for California. There's plenty of room in that California slot for a few pins. And I'll say, if you've not seen this movie because maybe you thought Annabelle, the first one, just put you off for life, change that opinion, change that stance, go and watch this one because I think you'll like this one a lot better. If you've never seen any of the Annabelle spin-offs, you might want to think about starting with this one. I mean, it's set before the other Annabelle film in 2014, so there's no reason why you shouldn't even start from this one. Okay, that's all from me today. I will be back soon with a review for The Nun, so subscribe and stay tuned for that one. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.